at its peak. Accurate and factual report.
Morning Dew, where every sunrise begins with inspiration and fresh perspectives. And of course, we go straight up to news updates. Of course, success is standing by.
Yes, this brings us to the federal government taking off away fine option and bringing other punishment for drug traffickers. The federal government is set to remove the option of fines for convicted drug traffickers and offenders, replacing it with prison terms of 15 to 25 years. NDLEA spokesperson Femi Babafemi disclosed this during an interview on Channels Television, saying the proposed amendment is being championed by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. Babafemi said the bill is aimed to ensuring convicted drug offenders serve jail terms instead of paying fines and returning to the illegal drug trade. He added that the NDLEA has intensified its crackdown on drug trafficking, making Nigeria an increasingly difficult environment for traffickers. The agency has also frozen billions of naira found in the bank accounts of suspected drug traffickers and is seeking to have the funds forfeited to the federal government. A federal high court in Abuja has ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to register the All Democratic Alliance Party as a political party. Justice Peter Lifu also directed INEC to provide the party, led by Akin Ricketts, with its access code within 72 hours to complete the registration process. Ada approached the court after alleging that its access code was wrongly issued to Umar Ado, whom it said is neither the party's pro-term national chairman nor secretary. The party also asked the court to declare invalid all information uploaded to INEC's portal by Ado on its behalf, arguing that it was unlawful and did not reflect the details contained in its original letter of intent. Security forces rescue adopted NECO candidates in Borno State. Now, still on the issue of insecurity, security operatives supported by local hunters and civilian volunteers have rescued 7 students abducted during an attack on Government Day Secondary School in Lassa Askira Uba local government area of Borno State. The students were sitting for the National Examination Council (NECO) Senior School Certificate Examination when suspected ISWAP terrorists stormed the school and kidnapped several candidates. Local hunters and vigilantes pursued the attackers into nearby forest, while troops of the Operation Handkai joined the rescue mission with aerial surveillance. The coordinated operation led to the rescue of 10 hostages, including students and teachers. One Nigerian soldier and a member of the Civilian Joint Task Force were killed during the operation. Now, on a world of sports, Gabriel Martinelli scored a dramatic winning goal, helping Brazil to survive a major scare to defeat Japan a 2-1 and book their place in the FIFA World Cup round of 16. Japan produced a disciplined defensive play, frustrating Brazil for most of the match by closing down space and breaking up attacks. With extra time looming, Gabriel Martinez scored a dramatic stoppage time winner after being set up by Bruno Guimaraes, sealing Brazil's comeback victory. The 5-time world champions will now face either Norway or Ivory Coast in the round of 16 in New Jersey on July 5th. Now, on the foreign scene, the President of the United States has announced that high-level talks on Iran will take place in Doha, Qatar, on Tuesday. The President Donald Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff and advisor Jared Kushner are expected to attend the meeting, while technical discussions will be held alongside the main talks. White House Press Secretary Carolina Leavitt said the U.S. remains committed to the ceasefire, but warned that any act of violence would be met with a response. President Trump also revealed in a social media post that Iran requested the meeting, although he did not provide further details. The US and Iran has been locked in tense dispute over the terms of peace arrangements, including control of the Strait of Hormuz and the unfreezing of Iranian assets. The latest diplomatic confusion has, however, left uncertainty over whether Tuesday's meeting in Doha will hold, as announced by Trump. And that's news updates on the Morning Dew on Dott television.
Wake up with us every morning.
We bring you news at its peak. Accurate and factual report.
Morning Dew, where every sunrise begins with inspiration and fresh perspectives. Yes, welcome back and over to the newspaper headlines. We're starting with our own, The Pointer. That's our newspaper. And of course, the banner headline says, Oboriwori summons contractor consultant over 7-year delay in the Re-Technical College project. Of course, we have reflect global oil price drop in fuel. FG directs marketers. And that's all we can take for the Pointer newspapers.
And over to Daily Trust this morning, saying teacher killed, student adopted, 10 rescued. That's on the front page of Daily Trust. Access code to parties, why fate of NDC unclear. Plots allowed to the seat A to C, bar article from running, media team alleges. APC NWC upholds appeals, replaces 8 Ondo NAS candidates. We'll also have here say, reduce petrol price, governor tells marketers. 2 siblings dies as boat capsized in rivers. 2 police officer orders arrested for allegedly raping a 13-year-old. 16-year-old becomes Nigeria's youngest chartered accountant. And that's it for the Daily Trust.
And now the Nigerian Tribune, and this is the topical story on the paper this morning. 53 years after, NYSC to undergo reform. That's on page 5. We have these riders. Federal government approved scheme to be civilian-led to focus on skills acquisition for Nigerian graduates. 6 weeks orientation, redesigned with focus on leadership, entrepreneurship, digital skills, and career streams to engage in risk-sensitive deployments to protect core members. And Federal Executive Council direct Attorney General to amend NYSC Act and forward to the National Assembly. Now, we also have above the masthead, plot afoot to the least ADC, bar article from running media team alleges, and on health, scientists may have discovered how to heal damaged kidneys. That's on page 4.
All right, straight to the Daily Times. Terrorists abduct students in Borno, kill teacher. As abduction toll hits 2,416 since 2014. We have above the masthead, NEMA, World Bank seek new policy to protect disaster victims. Of course, WhatsApp opens username reservations to boost user privacy. And of course, we take this one, ASU, to shut down varsities in 3 states over 2025 agreement implementation. That should be it for the Daily Times.
And over to the Guardian front page this morning saying, role in APC as Atiku obedience, alleged sabotage of opposition. And here we have foreigners stranded out on edge as anti-immigrant protests rock South Africa. And we also have here 2 died in Borno forest, saving 10 adopted NECO candidates. FG warns petrol marketers against profiting, seek reduction of prices. FEC overhauls NYSC after 53 years, agency to be led by civilian, which is the NYSC agency to be led by civilian. NAFDAC seizes 42 million naira expired baby wipes allegedly revalidated. Poor compliance, corruption, fueling building collapse, experts warns. And that's all for the guiding newspaper.
And on the nation, APC rejigs candidates lists in Ondo, Benue, Kwara, and Kogi. We have this riders. Party begins uploading of names to INEC portal. And Oyo candidates get forms. Above the masthead, First Lady launches food bank, digital academy, clinic in Jigawa. Troops rescue abducted NACO candidates in Brunei. And to the base of the page, we have this one, crude oil slump must reflect on petrol pump price, says Loobiri.
All right, the punch is next. And of course, we have fresh crisis hits parties as INEC portal opens against 2027 election. Of course, as a rider, we have Wike, Turakis PDP factions disagree over INEC portal access. Ayetadiwa, Tuji Ojo, APC camps clash. INEC defends action. Also, we have above the masthead, deregistration crisis, NDC files appeal, moves to serve INEC. NDLEA arms operatives with AK-47s to battle drug cartels. And of course, Borno abduction, troops rescue 10 NECO candidates, teachers. Lagos tops Nigeria's HIV burden as infections hit 102,025 persons. Blackouts, banks, firms sink 401 billion Nigerian naira into alternative power in 3 months. All that, of course, down there on the paper we have FEC, that's Federal Executive Council, cancels NYSC passing out parade, extends orientation to 6 weeks. FG approves 3.94 trillion naira for roads, vessels, others. All from the Punch newspaper.
And over to Daily Sun, we have APC ignores protests, settles for government lists. Here we have secretly distributes INEC nomination forms to candidates. Senate reps candidates get nomination form in Oyo. NWC received considered appeal committee recommendations. Court orders INEC to issue others access code to Akin Ricketts faction. June 30th, anti-immigrant action. Ramaphosa to South Africa, let your protest be peaceful and lawful. FGOK's NYSC reform scheme to be led by civilian. ASU threatens indefinite strike in state-owned varsities. U.S. disclosure on 199 killed jihadists refers to May operation. Terrorists invade Borno school, kidnap students writing NECO, kill teachers. Insecurity, still on insecurity, we have Tinubu has done his best, says Adeboye. And that's all for the Daily Sun.
Just taking a look at the Vanguard, and I can't quite see what's different from what we have in other papers, but just to mention this one, federal government orders marketers to reduce fuel price. The riders are very instructive. Dangote refinery determines price changes, and that's coming from marketers. NLC blames government for fuel price standoff, and marketers slow to adjust prices, and that's coming from Pan.
All right, finally, we have the Empire. On the Empire, we have a very cheery news about our youth. 16-year-old Osasere Okundaye becomes Nigeria's youngest chartered accountant. And then, of course, again, nation in mourning. Boko Haram storms Borno community, abducts candidates, taking NECO exam, kills teachers. 2027, NDC may join coalition if, that's Dixon talking, the registration threat. Kwakwanso meets NDC leader, Dixon, over party's fates. That's all we have in the papers for today in terms of headlines. When we come back, we'll be looking at the critical issues raised in the headlines for analysis. Stay with us. Wake up with us every morning.
We'll bring you news at its peak.
Accurate and factual report.
Morning Dew, where every sunrise begins with inspiration and fresh perspectives.
Dott Entertainment, your weekly dose of pure fun, airing every Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Saturdays, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Only on Dott TV.
We impose extra burden on the masses. I feel your pain.
Only humility will lead us to unity, and unity will lead us to peace.
Go to the market and sell your products.
Wake up with us every morning.
We'll bring you news at its peak.
Accurate and factual report.
Morning Dew, where every sunrise begins with inspiration and fresh perspectives. Yes, welcome back to this segment of analysis of the news thrown up by the headlines in the papers. We have quite a lot of them today. And of course, we have capable hands in the studio to chew them and then let us see what we can digest of them. Godfrey Ubaka is already in the studio. You're welcome this morning. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
How was your night and how's everything?
Well, thank God it's a newsy. You've already referred to it.
Okay.
Newsy and Rich Tuesday. The week started yesterday
Okay.
Absolutely.
with a fake meeting at the national level and a whole number of issues that are thrown up. So it's not surprising that while I was watching your headline, that is a very rich Tuesday.
All right,
Because usually,
of course,
Yes. And to think
we're-
that it's the
we're
last
still
day
here
of the
with,
month. as
yeah,
well,
last day of the month,
That is
significant.
as
They say we
newsy
should
as
emphasize
this.
this last day of the month.
As newsy. Yeah, because
Yeah, we are looking forward to something.
no, we're bringing together
Ayana.
everything that has happened.
All right, all right.
This
It's
month.
it's every 1 month. I'm looking towards another.
And if we are still in the studio, so let's go. The first one is, I think, the most important one for me is the fact that portals are open and we're still having issues with access code. Is it opening? Is it not opening? Parties are rejigging their candidates. Where are we in this timetable?
Yeah, I actually followed Nollywood for some time.
Okay.
You know, until I couldn't
Keep
keep
up
pace
with them.
with
Oh.
some of the part 1, part 2,
yeah.
and you know, sometimes you are enjoying one and you are
And you ended up not
you are
grabbing-
being-
you didn't grab your copy.
you know, so, but watching what is happening, I think INEC and
parties.
some parties, they are now in the part two of the whole thing. What was really part one? Infiltration of the opposition parties.
Yes.
You know, with factionalization.
Yeah.
Now we are in part two. And part two has to do with access code. Now you are giving access code to PDP. And the part two of the Nollywood is which of the PDPs?
Okay.
Wike backed PDP or Turaki led faction of PDP. So we are now seeing how the infiltration of the parties and the factionalization is further endangering our democracy. Okay. That's where we are. The access to the... Okay, now, if you say PDP, who has the access? And Wike-backed PDP now uploads the list of their candidates. And Turaki-led PDP say they are not having access. So, INEC should be held culpable because they were supposed to have monitored either the primaries and the internal party democracy mechanism of the various parties. They were supposed to have been part of all this, not waiting until there are issues and using the judiciary to endanger Nigeria's much cherished democracy. I think that's where we are. And the deadline is
if you from this angle, you just mentioned the issue of using the judiciary now to settle the issue of uploading of candidates. If we start from now, the judiciary intervening in the issue of selecting candidates, are you sure we don't have a long way to go, even after the elections?
Clearly, it's a long way ahead, and we're hoping that INEC is able to manage this because they have a lot on their hands already. Even putting together all they need, the materials and all of that for election is a lot. So we do not think INEC wants to take up that added responsibility. But talking about the leading parties, we know who the main actors are in the political space. APC is already uploading the names of candidates. And I believe that perhaps they are the only party that has that leg up.
Yeah, so, but even at that, there are conflicting reports.
Yes, now
because even APC is saying that there are fake lists going about. That is to say, they've also not been able to they are suffering implosion.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've not been able to put their house in order, you know. And what is playing out now is that what is supposed to be an advantage to them is in some ways becoming a disadvantage.
Yeah, but in some areas where it's clear, you know, it's not all the lists are faulty. So we see that APC has that advantage, early advantage of uploading their candidates, and perhaps some may see it as an undue advantage. What do you think?
Well, we referred to it in some previous editions. By the time you have somebody referred to it as an INEC that is not entirely independent. An INEC that by its operation and by its formation, by the appointment mechanism, is subject to the ruling party of the day, which ought not to be really.
And I believe that INEC has never, for some time now, has never been independent, because if they are truly like these parties having factions, different factions, this the Saraki-led and the Wike-led, they would have before now put a stop to these parties. They wouldn't allow them even to go on with the primaries in the first place if INEC is actually working or be acting independently. There are some parties that are not supposed to go through primaries.
There are steps and actions that parties are not supposed to take without the consent and the partnership of INEC.
Okay.
You can't hold congresses outside INEC timetable. Okay. You can't hold congresses without INEC being part of the process as supervisors, because they are the electoral umpire.
Now, let's come this way. If INEC is part of the primaries, why is it not possible for INEC to have their results from the spot that they will go and upload? Why do they have to still wait for parties? Assuming, for instance, they are doing primaries at the local level. I don't know whether INEC has all the staff, but assuming an INEC staff witness the primaries of a particular party and has a list of a candidate that was duly elected, will that not be sufficient for INEC to work with than to wait?
No,
and
INEC is expected to supervise the process.
Entry and the substitution.
INEC is expected to supervise the process, but
Okay.
the party
democracy
still
as
has
well.
its internal democracy
So what are they
structure,
supervising? They cannot supervise to the level of
through
having
which they
results.
can now transmit their result
Okay.
into. INEC is there to supervise the process.
Supervise what process now?
The process of emergence of your candidate.
Then when you supervise and there's an emergence, is that not enough evidence for you to work with? Is that not enough substance for you to work with? Why do we have to wait for parties now to say, oh, we did election in Delta State, but result will be announced in Abuja?
I believe
It's
there are
just
rules guiding these things.
Okay.
I believe that if the statutes that guiding INEC provides for them to do that,
Yes.
so perhaps they need to touch a few things, because that would have helped the situation, even if they were there on the spot and taking the readings from the field.
Yes.
So we wouldn't have to go back and forth.
Back and forth. That's my
They
concern.
are expected to be there.
yes.
They are there, but the parties still need to upload
It's
and
all
say
right.
Yes,
these
yes.
are
Our
because
candidates,
between
yes.
the time of contest
Yes.
and the time of the being candidates
Yes.
to fly your flag. So
Issues
many
can
things could have
Transpired and
So
All
my,
right,
my
we-
question is, sorry, so my question is now, having parties with factions, with different factions, are these factions also going to be on the ballot boxes?
No,
separately?
shouldn't be. A
Because
party
it's gonna be
is a
confusion
party.
to-
A party is recognized as a party. Factionalization, you are expected to put your house in order. You cannot recognize two factions of PDP.
Yes.
But the unfortunate thing is that PDP has had this issue. I'm using PDP as an example.
Yeah,
now.
because it's the
It
example.
has
It's the
had
example.
the issue of
think ADC
factionalization,
as well.
which is expected that they could have taken care of over the time. But it does appear as if it was premeditated. I think it was orchestrated, very deliberate
By who?
to hold on. I'm not in a position to say by who,
By who?
to hold the party structure down.
All right,
so
all
that
right.
the other parties can go
All right,
up.
okay,
That
Exactly.
appears to
Let's
be what
keep
is
watching the
playing out.
drama because it's actually drama.
Yes,
Let's see how it
This is the
unfolds
African magic.
and where it leads us to.
We'll wait to watch for part 3.
All right, we go straight to. We get tired of talking about abduction, but we can't avoid it. Let's go straight. Let's just tidy up this ugly aspect. Now, a rescue of abducted NECO candidates. Students were or candidates now, because they were private candidates, were sitting for examination, and then bandits struck, abducted, and then the process of rescuing, somebody dies or two people die. How long are we going to witness?
Yeah, it's still a very sad trajectory, sad narrative of what we are facing in Nigeria. A situation where people are going for JAMB, and it's all over the place that, bandits plan to abduct people going for JAMB. And eventually, they did.
They did.
Somewhere in Benue. You know, this intelligence will be all out there. But we need to have a dependable security architecture that should be able to not just gather intelligence, but outrun the bandits. Otherwise, if we have a reactionary kind of security architecture that waits for bandits to strike, and we are now trying to catch up with them, you find out that they will continue setting the pace.
The catching up with them is even immediate. It's always with prevarication.
Prevarication. And with headlines, which you reviewed the president vows to rescue the students that were kept abducted in Ibadan. And they keep vowing, and they keep vowing. And at the end of the day, there are no rescues.
We can no longer avoid or ignore the fact that the education system is under threat.
Seriously under threat.
But what I wanted to point out as well is the fact that we remember the Chibok schoolgirls, and now Borno State
has been on the top.
Borno State from the beginning. We of course know that Boko Haram originated from Borno State, and now this latest attack also happened in a school in Borno State. What is that saying? Because for quite some time we haven't quite had a headline. That's not to say that things may not have been happening, because it's not everything that gets reported at the end of the day. But now we see that a teacher was caught in the line of fire right there. So what does that say about the ability of the federal government to keep things under control, especially since we know that Borno State at least is a flashpoint?
The federal government has delayed so much in devolution of the police structure. You know, if by now we are still talking about state police, it shows that we are not very, very serious people. This is something that could have been done and dusted long before now. You know, 30-something years ago, I did my youth service in Mongonu, in Borno State. And I know that area is under Boko Haram.
At that time?
No, now.
Okay.
It's there now.
Oh, how
so
was it
where I
back
did
then?
my youth service, I can't
Go
back there
to see
now.
friends.
How
to
was
see
it
friends.
then? I mean, how was the environment at the time?
It was welcoming.
peaceful.
It was cheap. And I the time wouldn't permit me to start narrating my experiences there. I was like a member of the officers' mess, being a member of the National Youth Service. My uniform as a youth corper qualified me to be a member of the mess, where you are treated as more like as a VIP. I won't forget entering the Tazis by the major road in Meduguri, main town. You know, with the Malay, Dogoyaro trees all alive.
Oh,
and trying
that
pay,
must be very beautiful.
Yes, trying to pay the taxi driver.
Yes,
and he
worry.
says, no. So person who stopped there had
paid
paid
for
for you. Seeing me as a member of the
property of the federal government.
Somebody felt that they should pay for this young person who is serving the nation.
And life,
that was
life
then.
was easy.
Life was good. With the little we were paid, you go with your paper bag to the market.
Do you remember how
return
much?
with a full.
Yeah, I can't
Come
remember.
to think of it,
250, 300 naira. That was, but it took care of me. That when I was returning, I returned with half bag of onions and beans, which my mother was sharing in the community that my son returned from.
All right, now that
Eventually I walked, and I couldn't buy that quantity
Yes.
to share to my neighbors.
Anybody.
That's the paradox of Nigerian situation.
All right, now that you anchored on NYSC, we have a
NYSC.
story about NYSC talking about. Of course, once in a while they try to do some reform. Now we're hearing that the reform includes, among other things, that a civilian should now be the head of the NYSC. We used to have
Military.
Military officers
who are appointed.
Yes, because it was
and then giving
it was plotted towards paramilitary training.
Yes, a kind of glean from what America practices,
Exactly.
where you must, after your education, do 1 year national service.
Yeah,
and
the
it's always,
man who was
and it's always
there.
paramilitary.
Yeah,
Now-
endurance trekking.
Now
and all
that you are putting, now that you are putting a civilian as head, are we saying that will no longer the military training, the military trappings
Drills
of
and the
will no
likes.
longer be there?
Well, I saw that story this morning, and I reflected on the legacies of General Gowan.
Yeah.
53 years ago, in 1973, after the war, that idea came up
Effort of
to see how
reunification.
to unite Nigeria.
Okay.
And of course, if you are from Delta and you school somewhere in the southeast, you are expected to serve most likely somewhere in the north or maybe southwest.
Yeah.
And they had provisions that when you are serving, if you even marry somebody you are serving with,
Yes, 1,000 naira was available.
exactly.
To help
And
you.
you get
And
into
that was
camp,
big
you
money.
get into camp, you are given what welcomes you is your bicycle allowance
Yes.
and all that. And the early morning call
big
for
one.
you to wake up, all those were
Training.
trainings,
part of the trap.
the endurance trek and the language. They try to drip you up in language classes and all that. So those were the nitty-gritties of it all. Now you want to bring in
A
a
civilian.
civilian as head. I do not know to what extent it will alter the military components of the training. But we have had some elements of reform. Remember that when it started, even people who were supposed to be with National Certificate of Education, NCE holders, were part of it. at some point.
Yes.
Now it became only for graduates
Because
of
of
a
financial
particular
challenge.
of a particular age and all that. But I think the whole thing has to do with not just the uniform.
Yeah.
It's a bit cosmetic. We have changed uniform a couple of times for our police. It did not change the nature of the Nigerian police. You know, so if we want to change their orientation, you know, there are things to build in. Let them have hope in their country. If you are finishing your orientation camp and at the end of orientation, you see companies or a representative of a particular company coming to pick you to your place of primary assignment, that will be fine. There are provisions for housing for youth corpers, those who are serving the nation.
Those are becoming challenges.
Exactly. Those are becoming challenges. Those are the issues that should be looked into.
Okay.
Because by the time, you know, people looked forward to having people serve with them.
Okay.
And see how to motivate them. Now, people are going about being rejected. I got into a place and I found out that there was a friend was telling me that this person is a youth corper. I asked, what are you doing here? Serving in a guest house?
Wow.
And what is your role here? A desk officer. What do you do? You
ushering-
open door
ushering
for people who are coming in and
to
all
the
that.
hotel.
Was that what you studied in school and all that? The cheap labor that they resort to,
provides.
because you know they will come at the end of. There are those who go to the nearest we have here is Iseluku.
Yes.
You go there and book, and you know that whenever they have camp, they are bringing 10 for you. So it also makes you not to even hire qualified
or people that you'll be responsible.
you'll be responsible to, and it becomes a source of cheap labor. So there are issues about NYSC that need. NYSC 53 years after is a blessing to Nigeria.
Okay.
But it needs to be looked into critically. I am not comfortable that they are being exposed to our electoral system.
Okay.
Because our electoral process has a tendency to corrupt
That's where
and pollute.
that's where I come in on
And
this
to
issue.
And
escalate.
expose them.
Civilian.
Some of them have been exposed, and only
danger.
son from a la, neighboring a la, and only son was killed in crisis in an electoral spot in Port Harcourt.
Okay.
And I'm not aware that they are under life insurance. or something.
No. They cannot.
You understand? So there are issues that should be looked into with respect to welfare, not just uniform, and there are also reward system.
And just
and
to
what's
add,
the prospect?
Just quickly.
there's something
Yes.
we need to
Just quickly.
bring out regarding the duration, because you've talked about the basic issues. Let's talk about how that the orientation scheme has been expanded.
Extended.
Yes,
Extended.
from 3 weeks to 6 weeks. And the idea is for them to have more digital skills training and more. We are not quite sure about
Skill acquisition.
Yes, we're not quite sure about whether the military drills
Components.
will be removed even when a civilian takes over. But we are aware that the federal government wants
the
to make
civilian will be administrative head.
But that will
But
water
there
down.
can be no camping without military
military
drills in
drills.
the morning.
Okay,
Exactly.
and now the digital skills exposure and some of those things, don't you think that the federal government is trying to prepare the core
them
members so that
ahead.
they are better
they're out.
able to go into proper jobs and retain those
And
jobs,
face the labor
such
market
that
as
it's
well.
no longer about what you studied, but you're now better
Your
because
skill.
of the digital.
Yeah, the focus
skills.
from the federal government should be that of using the scheme to create job creators and not job seekers.
Job seekers.
We know the relationship between the town and the gown. You know, the gown is supposed to provide solution for the town. But we know our educational system and the technical impetus, the problem-solving ability is not always there. So if the NYSC is to be used as a finisher ground in order to equip our youth
For the future.
and equip them to go out there with a can-do spirit, especially because we are in an evolving age. We are in an age now that is ruled by information technology.
Yeah.
A digital component of anything you do now in the economy cannot be ignored. And so if that is the case, then we can buy into it.
But the military component,
it should go beyond uniform. The military component should be retained,
retained.
so that the discipline
That's
will
right,
be
be
there,
there.
so that it doesn't end up as NYC doesn't end up as now you
The
are
suffering
suffering
continues.
And of
All
course,
right,
our youth will be better prepared because now every form of martial training or military training is important
Is
for
very
every
important.
Nigerian
Very important.
because of the way
Very
things are
important.
going.
Very
All right,
important.
we'll come back on the review of the headlines of the papers. We just take a short break. Wake up with us every morning.
We'll bring you news at its peak.
Accurate and factual report.
Morning Dew, where every sunrise begins with inspiration and fresh perspectives. Yes, welcome back. We are dealing with the issues raised in the headlines of the papers. And of course, we go straight to the issue of petroleum products. We are aware that with the talks between the US and Iran, the Strait of Hormuz is clear now. Activities are going on in the area of petroleum activities. Now, that was supposed to, because the claim that we have high cost of petroleum products or have them selling at a high cost is because of the issue. Now, the issue is doubts. We are expecting that the pump price of especially fuel, which is generally used, should have come down. Federal government is now speaking to marketers to reduce. Is that the approach? You just tell them to reduce, or you should look at the workings, what is the process of production, and be able to come in and say, it should sell for this price. You're telling them to reduce to what amount, please?
Yeah, I think we have a problem there. Yeah. And the problem has to do with the fact that the marketers have this tendency to exploit this situation. Yeah. You know, whenever there is, what did it take the marketers to adjust their price when by the day our president was being sworn in and he said subsidy will go. He didn't say subsidy has gone, but the subsidy will go. There was an immediate adjustment of pump price. Now, the international crisis, Israel, America on one side, Iran on the other side, and how it affected the international price of fuel. Yeah. You know, how long did that take to trickle down? It was immediate. Now, at the international level, pricing of fuel has dropped, and it's taking the marketers eternity to adjust because of the tendency to profiteer, to exploit the situation. The federal government should go beyond appeal, but should match words with action. You know, we've seen where there are task forces going from fuel station to the other. And if you are not selling at this price, then be ready to be closed.
It's a long time I
down.
saw them do that.
No. They no longer do that, and they leave marketers. You know, there are no consumer rights in this country. If they are not being adhered to.
So what about the regulators?
So much on that because we need to.
Regulators, because one would have thought that at the point where the price of crude dipped when it came down, that we should have a system where the regulator of petrol pricing in Nigeria jumps in at that time and sets a deadline. You know, that way everybody is carried along. But when we just believe that the marketers should know.
No, they will tell you that it's not automatic, that they had ordered at the prevailing price at so time, that they have old stock. So you should allow them finish with that old stock.
But when there is a deadline, when the regulator sets a deadline and says you must comply by this deadline.
I think what if he is saying is that the regulator should step in
and set a deadline. The price, you know, given a circular. That's why press statements are there. Yeah. And by the time they have the backing of the Nigerian people who want this to happen, the regulator will have the power of the people. And then this
because
can
with the way it is now, leaving everything hanging loose.
Yes.
The ordinary man on the street.
Of course.
Okay, so much on that. Let's speak quickly because I'm having a prompting. Let's speak quickly to the issue of a young Nigerian, 16-year-old, being chartered as an accountant. Is that
Yeah, you're talking of Osarere
Osasere?
Okundoye.
Okundaye.
Okay, oh yeah. I think one, it has to do with the issue of a gifted child.
Okay.
And it also shows that Nigeria can have gifted people. I was one of those who were very pained when we had a minister of education who was insisting that a child in Nigeria should not enter the university until he or she was 16.
Do you think that was wrong?
And I felt it was wrong. And I was one of those who prayed for his removal, and he was removed.
Okay.
Yes, the minister was removed.
You mean that
And my niece who needed to enter the university at 15 plus had to enter.
You are one of them who support that children should be skipping classes.
There are children who are gifted. What nations do to advance is that when you identify a child that is gifted, you assemble them and nurture them, because it's not every child that should be going at the normal pace. For a child to be chartered at 16 tells you that she is a gifted child. And if you look around, we have dozens, if not hundreds, of such that should not be allowed to go at the same pace with the others.
What about the ones that are slow? What do you do with them?
Oh, they are also special children.
You keep them slow.
They call them special children.
Yes.
And there are places, there are ways we also tend them. They are special children. You don't call them handicapped children. They are special children. There is also a kind of curriculum that is structured towards helping them. But for the gifted children, do not hold them back. That's the problem of Nigeria, that a part of the country is being held back in order for another part of the country to meet up in what is called federal character. That's why Nigeria is where it is today.
All right, we are constrained to end the paper review and analysis at this point this morning. Thank you, Godfrey, for being with us.
Thank you so very much.
Of course, I'm still here with Ify and Success.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
be back
Thank you for
to
coming
continue
on the
with
show.
Morning Dew. Stay with us. Wake up with us every morning.
We bring you news at its peak.
Accurate and factual report.
Morning Dew, where every sunrise begins with inspiration and fresh perspectives. Wake up with us every morning.
We'll bring you news at its peak.
Accurate and factual report.
Morning Dew, where every sunrise begins with inspiration and fresh perspectives. Yeah, welcome back. Of course, we proceed to a conversation that is very important to the running of our society as it stands today. We all know that colonization has given us civilization, as it were, and there has ever been conflict about the new rulership pattern that we have and our traditional way of rulership. Talking about democracy, electing people into offices, and then, of course, the workings of our traditional stools and culture. We're in the studio with a man who is in the middle of all, in the midst of all of it, an illustrious son of Asaba, talking of Ugbueshi Swales Nso Iluaka. He's an illustrious son of Asaba, a custodian of culture. Of course, he's a chief by Ugbueshi. Some of you don't understand. Ugbueshi is the traditional way of talking about chiefs and title chiefs in the Asaba kingdom. He's a businessman, a philanthropist, and of course, a politician. That's why we have brought him to the studio to, unknot some of the noted areas of how politics and culture, tradition are going together or conflicting in the area of development and rulership of society. So you're welcome to our studio.
Thank you very much.
Welcome,
Good
sir.
to have
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
It's my pleasure
You're
having me
welcome.
here. Thank you.
Of course, Ife and Success, they are still here, and together we'll see how we can broach this matter. Well, to get started, sir, I am aware that Asaba has a very rich cultural heritage.
Well,
You want to highlight some of them that you are very, very happy about.
thank you very much. Growing up, Asaba used to be a very loving place.
Okay.
We have very rich culture that transcends all ages, all grades, all age grades. But what we see today is the decay in the society, which has infiltrated all strata of the system. Okay? Like from the 80s, growing up, every child that comes home every day, parents usually go through what you learn, they teach you, and then check. I remember the day I brought one biro that wasn't mine. I just saw the biro after school and I picked it up, got home. I was beating the daylight out of my head that day by my parents because we were taught never to bring anything that is
That's
not
nice.
yours. But what do we get in the society today? Everybody wants to grab. The politicians wants to grab. That is why the traditional stool started decaying in the 80s when a businessman called Lulu Case in Ibariam, N.N. Kelly, bought over the kingship of Ibariam from the existing king, told the king to shift, that, use money and bought it. John Nebot is a notorious criminal then too, bought that of Okozu. They called him Alos Okozu then. Then there was this man, Sukudo of Uke. His own, he couldn't because on that very day when they tried to put the crown on his head,
There was resistance, spiritual resistance.
spiritual resistance, they carried him off from that ground. And that was bettered all the skirmishes in the traditional
Usurpations.
stool. And it trickled down up to now. Even in my own place, Asaba here, some people are in court, which I am actively involved with the present stool, placeholder of the stool,
Okay.
until the court determines otherwise. People wants to grab, and when that comes in, then the respect for tradition is kind of put aback.
Okay.
It won't have
Let's come this way. Now, there's a structure of rulership, for instance, the traditional Asaba persons.
Yeah.
Can you just list them from the top to the bottom? That is the strata of leadership in Asaba, traditionally.
In Asaba, they have the working force called Okulabwe.
Okay.
But with the time you grow into that working force, those are the people who clears.
What's the age?
I wasn't prepared for this now, but it runs up to 20-something,
Okay.
32 years.
That's young people.
Young people,
All right.
But from 15, 18, you are inducted, you qualified to join that age grade from 18. They clear the road. During New Year festival, they are the ones that goes to all traditional homes to pound the yam.
Okay.
But about days now, they don't have that strength to do it again. So we hire people to do that, to pound the yam for us during the New Year festivals. So when you leave that stage, you get into the Otuhaza. Okay. The Otuhaza is like the Senate. And those days, the Otuhaza was very strong in Asaba. We have the Umuadas when it comes to the women. Those days, you will hear people saying that they don't want to get into the problem of Umuada. Because their own, you cannot bribe them. There are standards those days in Asaba that you have to meet. Then you talk of the Ipohogbe, that's the married women in the villages. They have their groups. Then when you now leave that aspect, mostly that Otuhaza, the ones Otuhaza handles your matter, that's the supreme judge in Asaba.
Now it doesn't go up to the.
It will not go to Asaba in council.
Okay, if there's an appeal.
If there's an appeal, it goes to, but Otuhaza is seen to be above board. Okay. Their judgment those days are always standard.
Okay.
So it's like the legislature.
It's like, that's what I'm telling you, it's like the Senate of Asaba.
Okay.
And then those days, once they finish with your case,
it's done.
You don't even need, because you will know it's clear.
Yes.
Until politics started coming in, bribery and corruption.
We'll get to the place of politics.
So these are the things, the infiltrations, they start infiltrating into the systems.
Yes.
Polluting the systems. The whole thing, even in them, within the Otuhaza circle, there's infighting.
Some are politicians, some are traditionalists.
So let's come this way. In Nigeria, culture and tradition often influence politics, governance, community development. So how can you tell us that the Nigeria culture has influenced Nigeria positively?
You will say the politics influence the culture now. It has to come the other way.
Okay.
Because formerly, culture did influence
the
politics. Okay, even if you are a head of state, like growing up, Asiodo was, before he became petroleum minister,
yes,
he was the super pump sec.
Philip
Asiodo was a super pump sec. But he cannot come to Asaba without visiting my father.
Okay.
My father was like a semi-illiterate, but a power broker in Asaba. Obi Edwaka, Obi Jacob Wani Edwaka. The then governor, the premier of Midwestern State, Dennis Osadebe, also cannot come to Asaba. First place of port of call is
to pay homage
to my dad.
Yes.
But it's not happening anymore. And no matter where they are, when my father and the other traditional rulers, when other OBs, when they sit in a meeting and pass a decree, the decree stands. But it doesn't happen now again. And why that is because, like I said, it's a general phenomenon. It's a general sickness.
Yeah.
Because every family now, those days, to marry a woman, you must go around, you must check.
Yeah.
There must be a check and balance. They will tell you this family is a family that is sane And the lady will tell you, please, if there's a matter, you won't want the father to hear or the uncle. But now ladies don't have that fear anymore. So no place to go. So you see many women without husbands.
Get out of their husband's homes.
And getting out of the husband's home is just with a snap of the finger. They don't care because no father to admonish them, no mother to admonish them.
So we're to say our culture no longer influence.
There's a cultural decay.
At what point did this cultural decay start, and what is fueling it, and what has brought us to this point where culture is being affected or impacted gravely by the progression of time and perhaps contemporary development?
I would say that it started with this, I think in 1979, the introduction of politics into the system after the army were pushed aside. People began to see need for bribery. Even it affected the general system, everything, every strata. Look at our present president who fought for Nadeco. We thought that when he come in, Nigeria will be better for it, but Nigeria is worst for it as it is. And nobody's talking. The wife now, a supposed pastor, is going about telling people about akara and kulikuli. Did his father and mother do akara and kulikuli? Did she do it? You know? Then, in those days when we have Tai Social Array, Ganifa Emi, you know, people who were standing Kuti, the Kutis, Nigeria was better because we have people who is ready to face the bullet. But now, nobody, when you shoot a bullet, now everybody disperses, not minding that their number outruns the police. How can 30,000 people stand and maybe 5,000 or 6,000 police? You can overrun them. But fear is in the air, and the people, they impoverish us, the politicians. For me, I pray every day for a martial music. I pray since 2013 to purge this system, because the whole people who have taken these funds are all enjoying the money with the money that even their 10th generation cannot finish.
All right.
They're still with it.
Let's come at you now. You are a politician. Are you?
I'm a practicing politician. I never intended it.
He said he never intended it.
You never intended to do it.
I came back home to relax with my family after my sojourn overseas for about 32 years.
Okay.
Then they now lured me into politics.
So now you say you're a practicing politician.
But my mandate was stolen in 2023.
We'll come to that. We hear partisan politician. You say you are a practicing politician. Can you just educate us on that? What do you mean when you say you're a practicing politician?
You know, in everything there's teething stages. Everything. And that's why I never wanted to jump the gun. If not, my age will not be going for House of Assembly.
Yeah, that's true.
But I had to go there because I want to start
from somewhere.
I want to have a base. Even the last time, I just switched 3rd of May from APC to NDC. I was in APC. I was the House of Assembly candidate in 2023. My mandate was brazenly stolen.
How do you say that? What do you mean by brazenly stolen? Is it
the state structure overwhelmed it and took it from us by force. With Okowa then, when he has failed from his vice presidential ambition. He never wanted to lose Delta State. Even about 2 months to the end of tenure, they still borrowed money to suppress everything here. And that was why the tribunal here didn't work. Because all of us were failed in the tribunal here. But when he went, Ngozi Okolie, who is in the House of Reps, but when he appealed, he won it. Because here they compromised. The whole tribunal was compromised. There was heavy money. There was talk.
That time you were in PDP.
I was in APC. We were in APC. We were the legacy APC. Then this PDP now came. What actually happened in APC was that all the leaders were against Oviomo Agege. So they didn't keep tidy up their home. So they first brought in Oboru in order to dislodge Omo Agege. Oboru didn't waste time to leave. So they were all fighting Omuagege. Festus Kiamu was championing it with Okotete. You know, all were against Omuagege. So when these people were coming in, there was no agreement on ground. So they met the crack on the wall of APC, capitalized on it, and overwhelmed everyone, all the whole members there, and then fixed their own structures. They just destroyed the existing structures because most of the existing structures were Omuagege that put the structures in place.
Now, looking at you, you stayed abroad for 32 years, as you said.
Yes.
And then you came back, you were lured into politics.
Yes.
I'm sure you witnessed political process where you were. Where were you exactly?
I've traveled.
The US?
No, I travel everywhere, but I have my permanent base there in Cotonou.
Cotonou,
Yes,
just nearby.
just nearby.
Okay.
But I traveled while
You speak some
both
French?
Malaysia. I speak the ones I use in trading then,
Doing business.
doing my business.
All right, come.
Of course.
Now, when you now came and settled down, how do you, so far with your participation in our politics, how will you assess our politics?
This is not politics.
Okay, what is it?
Jungle politics.
Okay.
We don't practice politics here. Even little as Cotonou is, when they're doing election, you won't even know. You just see people in queue.
Yeah.
But cars, everybody moves.
Move around.
Things are
Peacefully.
done internally. Once the party chooses a candidate, the candidate faces the other candidate in the ballot. Peaceful, no noise. But here, both money, thuggery, killing, maiming.
Why is our case different?
Because we're Nigerians.
The society gets what they want. Because the people who were supposed to do it shy away from it. Maybe they're afraid. So it is the decay. In fact, it's the general decay in the society. If me and you starts from our home, like my kids for now, for instance, I have a grandson. I have my first daughter that is married. But my input in her life till today is up to 70-75%.
Okay.
She can't take what she didn't learn from me into that home. And that's why she's respected in the home where she is. And I have my graduate kids, but which I'm still 85%
making input
in their lives.
All right, we'll continue with this discussion. We'll go on a short break.
Wake up with us every morning.
We'll bring you news at its peak.
Accurate and factual report.
Morning Dew, where every sunrise begins with inspiration and fresh perspectives.
Yes, you're welcome back. We are on a conversation on how tradition and politics are managing to achieve in our society. And of course, from what we are hearing from Ogbuefi, Eluaka, politics has not helped us. It has rather polluted, corrupted, in his words, our traditional system, which was hinged on morals, which was hinged on, bringing up children to know to do things right. We have centered on the area of our politics, how that there's a lot coming in that is not politics. You call it junk politics.
Jungle
politics.
Jungle
Thank
politics.
you. Now, let's look at this issue. We behave as if the traditional stools don't have authority as politicians. But when we want to go to the office, we carry people and go and pledge allegiance to the king for him to give us endorsement and possibly say we are the only candidate that he has endorsed. But when we enter the office, we don't have respect for him. Why do traditional rulers get to that level of,
Because they have been compromised.
Okay.
When a traditional ruler, your system, the system that brought you in, once the system that brought you in is questionable, and your actions are questionable, you've lost the moral support of your people.
Okay.
Mostly the people that are reasonable amongst the society. So most times, you cannot plant yam and get cassava. You can't plant cassava and get corn. It is what you plant,
What you sow, that's what
that's what you will reap. And it depends on how you nurture it, that you will get the harvest that comes with it. If the traditional institutions that we met has been sustained, we won't get this decay we have, both politically and otherwise, till now. Because no human being that is not answerable to his traditional truth.
Yeah.
So if what our fathers has left for us were allowed to be sustained, we won't get to the point we are now, because then we call them to order.
Okay.
Okay, so how can, now being a traditional ruler and also a politician, so how can political leaders respect traditional institutions while upholding democracy constitution?
I pray, but I don't think it will happen in our time. But if me and you start by putting our children right,
Okay.
let them know the values, the things that are right to be done, it will trickle down in their actions, in their teachings. Because, for instance, all my kids are not with me now. They're all mature. They've gone their separate ways. I only pray for them. But they can't do what I can tell you per time. I used to tell people, I will tell you what my child is doing per time. Time for siesta, I will tell you, call now, you will see she's sleeping or he's sleeping. And so time, I will tell you. Because that's how
you raised them.
I raised them.
Okay.
Until I have a daughter who has 5 degrees. She's working. But as at yesterday, she still sent me the bill for the service of her car.
Oh.
Excuse
Daddy
me?
has
Yes.
got to.
Daddy, are you not spoiling her?
I'm not spoiling her.
5 degrees, working, earning money, and
She's
then
not,
sending-
the trust Nigerian system, how much are they paid?
Okay.
How much are they paid? You want her now to go extra way, that way to sustain herself.
Okay.
So you take a particular responsibility in her life or his life so that it will ameliorate the suffering
All right.
and the issues that will grow on.
Now, we have dwelt a lot on what has gone wrong. So perhaps on the flip side, we see that we have some traditional rulers who haven't totally, brought down, compromised the values, as it were. Do we have them? Maybe you can point us to what you can see. Do we still have these men of integrity? And what can other traditional rulers and custodians of our culture begin to do so we can trace our way back to where we came from and possibly save our country?
Thank you very much. There's an adage in my place that says, charity begins at home.
At home.
Let's bring it down to Delta State. You will see infrastructural decays everywhere. Our governor, an elder in my church, I thought that he would do something differently, having heard the gospel. But all he has done is bridges. Look at, compared to Abia State. But he bought SUVs for all these traditional rulers.
Okay.
I was waiting to see one that would say, Governor, please, I need this money for so schools in my place, that they don't have chairs, they don't have this. Even in Asaba, go around.
Will you blame a traditional that maybe he doesn't have a car and government gives him a car?
My dear, that is where the morals, that is where we talk about discipline.
Okay.
When you have character, that is where character defines you. I, for one, cannot go for such.
Maybe because you are well off.
Not that I'm well off from day one. I don't believe in flamboyancy.
Okay.
Flamboyant living, having 10 cars, having the police and all that. I can afford it, but I don't do it. Okay. I go about, I drive myself. Except when I'm tired, I now call a driver I pay and they takes me around if I have things to attend to. I don't have anybody I fear. because I've not taken anybody's own and nobody's after me. During both the land grabbing and all, I never participated in them. Everything I own today is by the grace of God and my
Your personal effort.
effort.
Yeah, but we are talking about our
So
society.
when you talk about this, what I'm telling you now is that if the traditional rulers had looked inward and had come to say, Governor, we appreciate this gift,
But instead,
but at this time, our children are suffering. We want a conducive atmosphere for our children, for our children.
yeah.
We want one of these put in place, Then let it be that you have
You
shown
made that sacrifice.
leadership, you've shown character.
Okay.
None of them. All of them went and grabbed. Then the governor now told
It's
them that
dividend of democracy.
nobody should sell any of the vehicles. So is that vehicle more important to the lives of your people, your subjects?
But do you
In
blame them when they
fairness,
hear that a large sum of money is spent on senators who are their subjects, House of Rep members who are their subjects, just to have cars and, of course, furniture?
My dear,
So
if you
it's
want,
like-
if you want to even go there, I don't think there's need for any of those houses. At least one is enough. I don't see what reps and senate is doing differently.
Okay.
One should have been enough.
In
That's
fairness,
wasted.
That's one house. A unicameral legislature.
Yes, so I don't see what they're doing differently.
Okay.
And then talking about that A is doing it and B must do it is not supposed to be so. Somebody should set the
pace.
the
Standard.
Show the
the standard
example.
for others to follow. I was surprised when El Rufai's son rejected his own SUV. There were 3 of them then that rejected theirs.
Yeah.
At least it's on record. El Rufai that was looked at as a murderous enemy of the Christians. The son has that moral rectitude to reject an offer.
No, but don't you think because of his background, the father has been some things for many years and could have accumulated a lot of wealth for him? So perhaps the SUV they gave to him is less than the one he's riding. Wouldn't you reject it?
No, it's not about that. He told them, I think he cited instances of the need for that money to be used for something better for the society. There were 3 of them that stood out.
Yeah, I'm aware.
I think we should come back to where we started off. You were talking about how that the government of the day needs to do more. Isn't that what the governor of Delta State is saying? That he has done some things and then he will do more. I think you're asking him to do more.
I don't know what he has done than bridges. His predecessor never did anything. And that even brings us back to Fanny Okowa. Okay. When Donald Duke was the governor in Cross River State, there was languages, they said there were statements he used against one of his workers. The wife stood against Donald Duke. Donald Duke, as a serving governor, had to go to the worker to apologize. That's character.
Moral rectitude.
If Fanny Okowa, Delta State had given you more than enough. From councillor you to the president position, there's no place you have not ascended. Why not use this money and build a state-of-the-art hospital? Bring in
as a medical
to
doctor.
give back to the society. Get foreigners to work there so that fellow politicians will not be going outside for medicals.
Yes.
You didn't do it. And you still came back. You have been a senator. You are dressed as a senator, because once a senator remains a senator, you've been a governor, you've been all. What are you looking for back in that Senate? Your daughter is there, being prepared to take over as speaker. Your in-law is there. I mean, this is the height of ungratefulness. And if the wife cannot talk to him to say, darling, please, I wouldn't want this insult on us.
I mean,
because all this that is happening now, look at everybody can talk
speak to their husbands. So when
Speaking
they have power.
truth to
No,
power,
when they
I
have
think
political power.
No,
truth to
my
power
dear,
in
because
Nigeria
what
is-
Everybody can speak
I
to
bet you
power.
that if it was the Naduke, have you ever seen him in any of this their jamborees struggling for anything? That is when you are grateful, you are thankful. And when you are thankful is when you give gratitude to God.
Yeah, speaking
So
about
the position they
said.
have attained, to me, the wife should tell him, darling, enough is enough. Be a good statesman, be a father to the people. Than every Tom, Dick, and Harry now throws tantrums at him.
Somebody has got to
Which-
stand up for the truth.
Yeah.
that's what we're
That's what
picking
I'm
from
saying.
that.
Okay, now,
Somebody has
But
got
don't you
to.
think he's also, trying his best to put things in place in the states as well?
Well,
At least,
what you said, I think we can rub that in. That as a medical doctor, if you have served, you should look to build infrastructure that people can look to and be useful. So I was discussing unofficially with somebody, and he said, no matter what you say about Donald Duke, who is now the Senate president, that
Not Donald Duke,
Akpabio. Akpabio, sorry, thank you. Akpabio, whatever you say about Akpabio, who is our Senate president, while he was governor in Akwa Ibom, he said he built a state-of-the-art health facility and that he has never gone abroad for, I don't know the truth about it. But I think if you are a medical doctor, by the time you are leaving office, you should be leaving legacies that people can point to that, oh, as a medical doctor, you said, and this is seen
What they
about
will
your
you'll be
service.
remembered
Well,
for.
let's come back to you as a person. Let's begin to tail off with you. With what you have seen in our politics, now you say you left APC as a genuine member of the APC. Now you are in NDC. What's your plan? Do you want to vie for position? And
Already I have the ticket
what are you
of
Okay.
NDC for the same House of Assembly.
Okay.
And our people have been shortchanged all this while. They've not gotten any good representation.
Okay.
Growing up, or maybe you know that while growing up, there's something called welfare for dissident children.
Okay.
You bring them in
Indigent student.
for indigent children.
Indigent
Sorry, you bring them in and you teach them.
Okay.
There are different jobs to be learned right there, correctional skill acquisitions, to be learned inside that welfare.
Okay.
And when the children go there, but now if you build it, because of the hunger in the society, every child will want to go there. They will prefer going there because there is 3 square meals to take in that welfare. But that time, everybody was ashamed to go to welfare because your society will reject you, your friends will reject you. Even when you come to play ball with them after you come out from
your family.
That stain, nobody wants it. If we can start something, bringing back the children, take them in, teach them 1 or 2 so that they can have something to go back and give to the society. It will be a better, I think we can start from there. Okay. And this is one of the priorities, things that you need to get into.
All right, as we round off on this conversation, I want you as a person with your position, having traveled outside, come inside, try to be part of the system, what advice, and of course you are within the traditional system, what advice will you have first for traditional leaders of society and to politicians to collaborate and make our society a better place?
All I would say is, they say if you are a governor, govern well. If you are a teacher, teach well. Ours is to say, but then it's on the person who you tell to actually accept and know. They all know what is right and what is wrong. No, I don't think there's any human being who doesn't know what is right and wrong.
So why don't they do it?
But the fact is, it boils down to character and conscience.
Okay.
Some their conscience are dead, and they don't even care what happens. What would you tell for a child? I saw one child beating the mother. It went viral last week. They caught him and brought him to their village and flogged him 100 strokes the other day. A child raising hand, beating the mother who had you for 9 months. It will tell you where
the
we
extent
are.
of moral
That's terrible.
degradation.
But those days when we see children, there used to be educational inspectors while we were in primary school. If they see you with uniform during school hours,
On the street.
they will take you back there and they will discipline you and still take you to your parents. Your parents will discipline you. When you see an erring child, you flog that child. You get home, the father will
Discipline
touch
was
a child
business.
now. It was everybody's business.
Yeah.
Children were everybody's business. Upbringing was everybody's business. You know, you see a child that is hungry, come. Your mom is like, your mom went to market. She's not back. They give you food. No fear, nothing.
Yeah.
The society was sane. We were living in a just and humble society, growing up. So why can't we replicate that?
Okay. But do you know that some of us parents were guilty?
We all are guilty of it.
We called what we experienced before as suffering. I don't want my children to suffer what I suffered. Is that not the problem?
No, that is what I'm telling you. Like me, I tell you about myself.
Okay.
My kids, I don't touch phone. You can only touch phone when you are on holidays in the house.
Okay.
And when you're going back, when you're in secondary school, you don't have personal phones.
Okay.
You only use them, but primary you don't.
Well, that is a matter for
you know. So when we all begin to
implement
this and the homes,
Yeah.
let us begin with our homes,
Okay.
so that our children will be better. Nigeria will be better tomorrow. It may not happen in our time again, because we all are guilty. What we enjoyed, we have not been able to replicate it or impart it on the children. That is why we see all this decays. You know, you see a father, is that not your mate? Whatever he does to get money, you go and do it.
Let the money come.
And let the money come. You see people, they say Yahoo Plus and all
So
that.
it's a reversal of role. Instead of parents taking care of children, parents are looking up to children to take care of them.
That's it.
Well, viewer, that is the conversation we have been having. In fact, it has varied and it has been variegated. We started with how culture and tradition have been impacted by politics. And of course, to how much our society has decayed. Everything has been identified to the fact that we now lack moral rectitude. And our guests, Ogbueshi Swale Eluaka, has advised both parents, traditionals, to everybody, try to be morally conscious. Try to do things right. Think of what is right, not just for you, but for society, so that tomorrow we can have a better Nigeria. Train up the children the way they should go, and let them not depart from it as they grow up. That's why I want to thank you for coming on the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ogbueshi. We wish you a beautiful new month ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And of course, your election that you are going for, we
wish you
we
great
pray
success.
that God grants you success,
Amen.
so that we can see some changes as you have advocated.
And of
Thank
course,
Well, we continue with Morning Dew as we come back. Stay with us.
Wake up with us every morning.
We'll bring you news at its peak.
accurate and factual report.
Morning Dew, where every sunrise begins with inspiration and fresh perspectives.
impose extra burden on the masses. I feel your pain.
Only humility will lead us to unity, and unity will lead us to peace.
Go to the market and sell your products.
Dott Entertainment, your weekly dose of pure fun, airing every Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Saturdays, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Only on Dott TV.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying through with us. We are moving on with our program this morning on Morning Dew to the business segment. Of course, Louisa, our CD, is here with our business crits.
Good morning.
Hello,
Good
Louisa.
morning. How are you?
Doing very
The
fine.
donut on your head is looking very edible.
Oh, wow.
And you represent business.
Oh, thank
Nigerians look at you, they have hope.
That pump
Yeah,
prices will come down.
That life,
soon.
that life
There's
will be
hope.
better.
Oh, yes.
All right,
yes,
over
yes.
to you with your business.
Okay.
Business.
Thank you. Good morning. This morning, it's all about the cost of living. What you are paying at the fuel station, what you are paying at the market, and a big shake-up in Nigerian banking. Let's get into it. Let's start with a question a lot of us have been asking. If the price of oil is falling, why is petrol still so expensive? Global crude has dropped sharply from around $120 a barrel back in April down to about 73 now after tensions in the Middle East eased. But at the pump, the relief just isn't showing. Petrol is still selling for around 1,200 naira a litre on average, well above the 800 to 900 naira we're paying back in February. Now, the consumer watchdog, the FCCPC, has stepped in. It says prices shoot up fast whenever crude rises, but somehow take forever to come back down. And it's warning fuel marketers that competition has to work both ways. To be clear, the government doesn't fix fuel prices anymore. The market does. But the FCCPC says where it finds businesses exploiting customers, it will investigate. So the real question this week is simple. When does the fall in crude actually reach your tank? Now to something every single household feels: the cost of food. Fresh figures from the National Bureau of Statistics show the cost of a healthy daily diet has climbed again to about 1,589 naira per adult per day as of April. And remember, that's per person. For a family of 4, you're looking at well over 6,000 naira a day just to eat well, before rent, before transport, and before school fees. Where you live makes a real difference too. The data shows the Southeast and Southwest are the most expensive places to eat healthily, while the Northeast is the cheapest. Adamawa came out as the most affordable state in the country. And here's why. The Bureau says animal protein, your meat, your fish, is the single biggest driver of that cost. So while some grains and gari have actually gotten cheaper over the past year, it's protein that's keeping the prices up. And finally, a big change in the banking world. Providus Bank and Unity Bank have officially completed their merger. As of today, they are operating as one, Providus Unity Bank. This is part of a wider push by the central bank to build bigger, stronger banks, pairing Providus' digital, tech-driven side with Unity's wide branch network across the country. The bank says customers shouldn't see any disruption for now. Your accounts keep working as normal, with new products coming gradually over time. It is a sign of just how much Nigeria's banking landscape is reshaping right now.
That's a lot.
Interesting.
Yes. I think the takeaway there is the issue of Adama. Do we all move to Adama?
Sincerely, I was already thinking about it.
it.
I was already thinking about it. But of course, we know what's going on in the same Northeast
Okay.
presently. So in as much as it's attractive to just up and go, after work today, we'll just pack our bags.
It's not easy to
Our
go
boss
to
will
Adama
think we are
from here.
coming.
It's a far
We are
distance.
coming to work tomorrow, but we'll just take night bus to
No.
Adamawa. You know.
All right,
But-
so much for business. These are things we have been talking
Yeah.
about since fuel still up,
on the rise.
while crude oil has
Price
dipped.
drop.
Cost of living and all that.
Very
There are things
high.
we have been managing with, we have been talking about. All of them, the burden is on the government to mitigate the sufferings we are going through. Thank you, Luisa, for coming on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, we'll go on another short break. When we come back, we'll begin to wind down on the program. Stay with us.
Wake up with us every morning.
We'll bring you news at its peak.
Accurate and factual report.
Morning Dew, where every sunrise begins with inspiration and fresh perspectives.
Wake up with us every morning.
Yes, thank you, viewer, for staying through with us this morning. That is actually the size of our package this morning. We have brought you the headlines and, of course, analyzed some salient issues that has to do with the state of our nation. And of course, as Luisa came with her business package, telling us about how that even though crude oil, the price has dipped, we're still buying fuel at a very high cost. And then, of course, we had a guest who tried to, take us through the melee between culture, tradition, and of course, politics. Ify,
Yes,
one last word for our
it's
viewer.
been quite a ride, and we do hope that the new month will portend better times for Nigerians. And we wish you a beautiful day. I am Ify Aaron.
Yeah, success.
And I am Success Benjamin. We are also hoping that the federal government do something to our educational system, because education is a bedrock of every nation. So schools should be a safe and conducive place for children to learn and also participate in their academics and examinations. Wishing you a fruitful Tuesday and a lovely new month ahead.
All right. We also hope that the federal government will stay with the time, the ultimatum given by South Africa. And if nothing is done to evacuate our people, let something be done diplomatically to ensure their safety. That's how we ended this morning. Thank you for always being there. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Wake up with us every morning.
We'll bring you news at its peak.
Accurate and factual report.
Morning Dew, where every sunrise begins with inspiration and fresh perspectives.